If I look at the case of India, it is actually quite impressive. It's a logistical marvel.
India deserves to be called a bright spot on this otherwise darker horizon.
A bright spot in a dark horizon. A logistical marvel. A leader in digitalisation. These are some words of praise coming out of Washington, D.C. for the Indian economic model. The International Monetary Fund recently heaped praise on India for facing unfavourable economic headwinds as the world braces for market-damaging events unfolding at a rapid pace. How is that possible despite the global downturn and high inflation? How does the Indian market continue to perform well in the face of hardship? Come join us as we dive deeper into India's economic story. A recession looms and is expected to have a global impact, from major developed economies to those just emerging. The annual conference of the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank featured many discussions about the state of the world economy. With the Russia-Ukraine crisis escalating to almost nuclear threats, oil prices spiking the world over, and general slowdown in consumption patterns, coupled with global high inflation, the mood was grim at this year's IMF meet, with fears of a recession looming large. However, amidst this gloom and doom, the IMF reserves special praise for India.
India deserves to be called a bright spot on this otherwise darker horizon because it has been a fast-growing economy even during these difficult times, but most importantly, this growth is underpinned by structural reforms.
India's path to a strong economic model to be emulated by the world has not been an easy one. Painstaking groundwork was implemented on a mission mode to make a large part of the population digitally compliant. The DBT, or Direct Benefit Transfer Scheme, which transfers government funds directly to beneficiaries without any interference from middlemen, also was a topic of praise by the IMF, calling it a logistical marvel.
If I look at the case of India, it is actually quite impressive. In fact, just because of the sheer size of the country, it's a logistical marvel how these programs that seek to help people who are at low income levels reach literally hundreds of millions of people.
In contrast to this success story of Digital India, we look at the German finance minister's recent comments when asked to conduct a similar exercise in his country. Prominent Twitter users were aghast that Germany had difficulty matching bank accounts with beneficiaries and that a process like India's DBT could take almost 18 months. One sector, however, that remains a worry for India is the dollar to rupee exchange rate. With the rupee breaching 82 rupees to a dollar, headlines across the Indian media landscape predict a doomsday scenario for the Indian rupee. However, if we dig a little deeper into the data behind the exchange rate fluctuation, we see that in 2022, the rupee depreciation has been a lot less than other Asian currencies, despite an increasing crude oil bill. Indian Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman reiterated this fact on her recent trip to Washington, D.C. Let's listen in.
I think Indian rupee has performed much better than many other emerging market currencies. But I think the efforts are by the RBI more towards maintaining a certain, more towards seeing that there are not too much of volatility. It is not to intervene in the market to fix the value of rupee.
According to the World Economic Outlook published by the International Monetary Fund, India is projected to surpass Germany to become the fourth largest economy by financial year 2027. It also says that India would expand faster than Japan by financial year 2028. Political stability and attractiveness of the Indian economy as an investment destination for foreign multinationals can continue to drive structural flows into the country via foreign direct investment. This will further strengthen the country's strong economic foundation. While the world was still rebuilding from the COVID-19 pandemic and its aftershocks, India took a massive leap on the economic front when it recently surpassed the United Kingdom in terms of nominal GDP. Observers say that a tripartite foundation consisting of a resolute political will to make difficult decisions for the greater good, swift implementation of fiscal objectives, and a development strategy based on science and technology has yielded rich dividends for the country. As countries brace for economic headwinds, the Indian growth story continues to march on. As the IMF put it, India remains a bright spot in a dark horizon. India has been successfully able to navigate post-COVID economic shocks and the shifting global geopolitical structure. Consumers are out in full force taking advantage of festival season shopping. Stores and showrooms selling everything from jewellery to apparel to automobiles are reporting significant increases in sales in pre-Diwali festival days. The state of the automobile sector, which is essential to both macroeconomic growth and technological innovation, is a good indicator to measure India's economic health, and all signs point to an upward trend. In India, the automotive industry registered high growth rates during this festival season. According to the Federation of Automobile Dealers Association of India, the country's total vehicle retail sales rose 57% during the Navratri festival this year. The total vehicle retail sales between September 26th and October 5th of this year stood at 539,227 units, as compared to 342,459 units sold during Navratri last year. According to data, every category in the automobile sector showed extremely high growth, with two-wheelers, three-wheelers, commercial vehicles, and passenger vehicles increasing by 52%, 115%, 48%, and 70% respectively. Leaders in the automobile sector are overjoyed that after a gap of 3 years, customers are back in their showrooms ready to purchase new sets of wheels.
हमेशा की तरह त्योहारी सीज़न में तो हमेशा ही बूम होता है। कस्टमर ज़्यादा प्रेफर करते हैं गाड़ी खरीदना, क्योंकि त्योहारी सीज़न में लोग वेट करते हैं कि त्यौहार आ रहा है, घर में कोई नई चीज़ आनी चाहिए और हमें कुछ खरीदना है। इस वजह से वो ज़्यादा उत्सुक रहते हैं फेस्टिवल सीज़न के दौरान गाड़ी खरीदने के लिए। तो इस सीज़न भी ये कोरोना के बाद जो सीज़न है चला है, इसमें भी काफ़ी लोगों को उत्सुक है गाड़ी खरीदने के लिए।
India's appetite for precious metals remains voracious. Gold and silver traders across the nation see high sales during October and November. The festive period usually sees higher sales for gold, silver, and diamonds, as most Indians consider such purchases to be auspicious during this time of the year. This year hasn't been any different.
लोग तो दिल से बाहर निकले हैं और ज्वेलरी का रेट्स भी, गोल्ड का रेट अभी 50,000 के रेंज में है, तो लोगों के मन में 50,000 का रेट एक लगभग बॉटम आ गया है कि इससे नीचे जाएगा तो इट्स अ बाइंग अपॉर्चुनिटी। तो 50 के आसपास रहने से लोगों में उत्साह है।
If jewelry sales are up, then how can retail be behind? Indians are getting some much-needed retail therapy, and the holiday shopping numbers don't lie. According to industry projections, online and in-store retail sales are expected to surpass $27 billion USD this year, almost double from 2019 and about 25% higher than the previous year. The sales figures would include nearly $15.2 billion USD in offline sales, compared to about $8.5 billion USD in 2019.
पोस्ट कोविड इतना शॉपिंग हुई नहीं थी उस समय, तो अभी थोड़ा ज़्यादा शॉपिंग ज़्यादा चल रहा है। एंड दिवाली का फेस्टिवल है तो शॉपिंग होता ही है उस हिसाब से। एंड फिर स्पेसिफिकली ज्वेलरी इन्वेस्टमेंट पर्पस के हिसाब से भी वेरी लॉन्ग रन के लिए भी बेनिफिट होता है.
The post-COVID recovery of any nation is usually measured with the discretionary spending habits of its population. The upwardly mobile, aspirational Indian is now spending on holidays and travel, and while on vacation, likes to shop as well. This shows an economy that remains resilient and consumption patterns that remain resilient. India remains open for business.